Hello world, from whichever time zone you're catching me from. My name is MD90. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notification to all so that you do not miss the uploads that come up. And the easiest way for you to navigate the channel is to head to the playlist. You'll find videos curated for you based on your interest. So if you're interested in the Kutika podcast, you'll find a playlist for that. For news and trends, there's a playlist for that. Exclusive with MD90, a bunch of playlists that are created based on your interest. So the easiest way to navigate the channel is head straight to the playlist and you'll find what you're here for. Consider becoming a member of the channel. Right next to the subscribe button is a join button. You click on the join button so that you can become a member of the channel. You support the team on the production and a number of things that we're doing here, and we appreciate that.
Well, the Republican Vice President, Tayali has been on duty, and one of the tours that she was taking just a couple of hours ago, she interacted with a baby that was abandoned, should have been thrown. The details are not known, but the baby pretty much was abandoned and was picked up. So that baby was presented to the Vice President, not the one that you see on screen. Let me just show you the video of our interaction. She spoke live into the baby and pretty much captioned it with, say, what a poor baby here.
Beautiful, beautiful, wonderful baby. Yeah. You are not condemned, you are blessed. You are welcome in the land of the living. Amen. You will grow into a great person. Amen. You will grow and increase. Amen. Yes, the stature of the cedar of Lebanon. You will be like the palm tree. You will rise in the land of the living. Amen. And indeed, my mind comes to Joshua immediately. Joshua, washed by the Lord, the priest. Joshua. God bless you, Joshua.
So that was the interaction of the Vice President with that baby that was abandoned. And then she said, "Oh, my poor baby, I am trembling with emotions. You have been abandoned, left behind for reasons we may never understand. My heart breaks for you. I just couldn't walk past without giving you my blessings. And I know this for today. I refuse to accept that you have been abandoned because you are here. You are the Joshua of our time." So those are the words that she spoke into that baby. On the other hand, Tayali says, Edgar Lungu will be buried in Zambia, but not under Hakainde Hichilema regime. Isn't that politics of hatred? Should I support such nonsense out of loyalty? So the conversation of the burial of the late President Shu still continues. And Tayali has been facing a lot of backlash since the passing of Edgar Lungu. People are calling him out to say mostly relied on Edgar Lungu's support, both for his legal battles and also just his livelihood with his family. So now that Edgar Lungu has passed on, the way he's flipped on him, that's what people are having issues with. But Tayali argues to say the issue is not with the late president, but the people that are left behind who are claiming to be executing the instructions that Edgar Lungu had left behind. So those are the ones that he's having problems with. And then he goes further to say this is still Tayali and attaches the images from last Wednesday's requiem that happened in Johannesburg, South Africa. And he says, the problem is that some people start political shenanigans, and when some of us don't agree and hit back, they play victim, accusing us of being uncouth. Let's be fair. So it seems like it's been getting to him, how people are jabbing at him. But the argument is on solid ground, because you even see the interaction that happened in his comment section. People called him out. And then he goes further saying, unfortunately, politics can be cruel, because if you slumber, you might be one of the people to pay the ultimate price. So we bring out best we have to fight back. So he says he's been jabbing at the opposition as a way to stay relevant mostly. That's what his argument is. And then Frederick Ngulube tells Tayali, says, sometimes boy, you behave like an uncouth person. Come back to your senses. And then Tayali acknowledges to say, yes, it's true. At times, because at times politics calls for that. So he says it behaves in that way as a way of staying relevant. And then He goes, and then someone, Ruth Churu, tells Shufetari, say, pray you do not die in exile. He tells Shufetari, and he says, whichever way or whatever, whether I die, I will be, I will be dead. And then he goes further to say, no, and no one will make any fuss about it. But of course, I will be buried in Zambia. So he says, whether he dies wherever he is does not matter. But the fact is that his body is going to come back into Zambia. And then Mwira Mwansa told Shifetayali to say, during good times, a lot of friends know you, but during bad times, you know your friends. Shifetayali, you are that good friend, Edgar Shagalungu. You were that good friend to Edgar Shagalungu when he was alive, and you are that bad friend when he is gone. You are trying so hard to impress the new Dawn UPND government, but voila, your loyalty is to your stomach, politics of the belly, shame. And then he goes, Shifetari responds to that. He says, Edgar Shagalungu wants to be buried and this it's those people that don't want that. They are playing politics with his body. So he responds to that. On the other hand, the permanent secretary for youth, Chamafumba, has finally responded. If you know, Pilato was a very strong advocate for the voiceless, pretty much during the PF regime. So people have been hitting at him to say, ever since he was appointed as PS, he's been quiet and pretty much he's no longer the voiceless, the voice for the voiceless. So he finally addressed that issue. So Pilato says, Pilato explains silence on public issues, cites new road demands problem solving. So Pilato's explanation is that, and let me just give you one more from Chief Etari. For those who believe, no explanation is needed, but those who do not believe, no explanation is enough. So Chief Etari is still having the back and forth. But this is what Pilato had to say. Fumachama, widely known as Pilato, the permanent secretary for the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts, has addressed public inquiries regarding to his perceived silence on national issues since assuming his government role. Chama, a prominent Zambian musician and activist, prior to his December 2022 appointment, stated that his current duty is to listen and offer solutions rather than vocalize public grievances. So, Pilato pretty much argues to say his new responsibility is in government. He cannot be voicing out the problems. He's supposed to be finding solutions to those issues. So the roles have changed. That's his defense with regard to that. What is KBF put up the Tonse Alliance press briefing that they had before they flew back to Zambia from South Africa. And then he put up an image. There's been this conversation that has been going around to say Edgar Shagolungu somewhat had left KBF to take over the Patriotic Front and the Tonse Alliance leadership, to which Raphael Nakashinda disputed to say the late president did not appoint any individual, he did not anoint any individual. Every person has to fight their own battles if they want to take over the leadership of the Patriotic Front and also to be at the helm of the Tonse Alliance. So KBF has never publicly admitted or stated to say he's the person that was endorsed by Edgar Chagolungu, but the conversation in the grapevine is being that to say he's likely to take over that. But the question is, will the other leaders within the Tonse Alliance endorse him as their candidate? If not, then you expect a split and each individual for himself. You expect Fred Membe to run on his own. Hari Kalaba is already running on his own. Just the recent ended by-elections in Lumezi, Citizen First with Hari Kalaba had their own candidate as opposed to having a united candidate behind the Tonse Alliance. So I do not see a proper endorsement coming from the other political parties. They just have to go for it if they were to endorse KBF. Then Mao Sampa also weighs in on the barrio stoppage. But at this point, we just have to wait for the verdict or the court hearing, because we've got one that is coming up on Thursday this week and Friday, and then the judgment is likely to take place on the 18th of July. So let's just wait at this point. It seems like the agreement between the Lungu family and the government has not come through, which the Attorney General was hoping for. That in as much as they've got that court case going on, they were hoping to have a conversation behind the scene and then probably come to an agreement, but no talks of that nature have been made public at least. So as things stand of this day, things are still the same, the way they were from Wednesday. Then in the news diggers, we have too many holidays. People want to sit and do nothing. So the president is addressing to say Zambia has too many holidays. They need to. And then the Ministry of Information and Media put up a list of some changes that have been made to public holidays. So permanent secretary to the, Secretary to the Cabinet, Patrick Chagwa, put up this memo. It says a press statement for immediate to this, following the Convention of Government notice they put up there. And then in regard to Heroes Day and Unity Day, we will be commemorated on Monday 7th and Tuesday 8th July 2025, respectively, as opposed to 30th June to 1st July 2025. So those are changes that have been made to those public holidays. Take note of that. And then the rest look like they stay the same. So pretty much some holidays are likely to be scrapped off or moved around. Too many holidays for a nation. That's from the Republican president, communicated by Patrick Chagwa, Secretary to the Cabinet. We should never forget that the Constitution was written to restrain, wasn't written to restrain citizens. It was written to restrain government's behavior. That's according to smart egos there. And then the mass newspaper say Kasune Kabesha must go. They have failed to advise President Hichilema, says Mkandira. So Mkandira is one of the lawyers that had filed that bill, that lawsuit against Bill 7, which was in their favor a couple of days ago. So they are saying the Attorney General and Minister of Justice should be let go or fired. They seem to be advising the president in the wrong way, according to him. And then Sunday Nation says Tonse moves to nullify Lumezi vote. So it seems like there will be a court case coming up with regard to the Lumezi by-elections, which the UPND won. Should have been yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, or on Friday, when they were voting for that. And the UPND won those elections. Actually, it was on Thursday, 6th June. So the Tonse Alliance is likely to file a lawsuit against that. Let's wait and see how that plays out. And that's the news, ladies and gentlemen.